some young people say it now. What's the team for tonight? Limitless. I want to hear it a little. What's the team for tonight? Limitless. See, well, you're not understanding the heights of this limitless thing. You see, anybody can tell me what's the meaning of limitless?
Don't end.
No limits. Alright, so that is true, right? And the team verses Philippians 4:13 says,
I can do all
things through Christ. That if there's one thing I want to go tonight is to remember limitless and the team for tonight, because without limits, without boundaries, no limits, no boundaries, you know, we outside the box, we not boxed in. That exam that coming up, hey, no limits, we getting distinctions, right? True. Yay! For these scholarship people. Alright, that's what we're seeing, right? I understand. Limitless. So, as we continue, we just like to invite two young people, a boy and a girl. They're going to give their testimony. Levi Aaron, I didn't see him. Ariana Aaron, I didn't see him. Alright, so just welcome these two young people. Well, we'll invite ladies first.
Okay, so I've been attending Dunamis a little more than 2 years, and the reason I started coming to Dunamis was because Ashley used to nag me all the time in school to come on a Friday night. And honestly, there's so much of Ashley you can handle, right? So I remember when I had just started coming here, my mother created a new rule for me, and she said, so you know, if you have any plans that are on a Friday night, you have to cancel because you have to go to Dunamis. But Mommy didn't know that wasn't a problem because the only place I wanted to be on a Friday night was right here. A long time ago, I used to feel like there was an emptiness in my life, like something was missing. A lack of purpose, and it was difficult to deal with. And here at Dunamis is where I was able to overcome that. Through worship and prayer and time spent in Word, I was able to strengthen my relationship with the Lord and become closer to Him. And it's honestly amazing what you could overcome with Jesus. And soon after that, I accepted the Lord and got water baptized. And for the first time, I felt like I honestly and truly experienced peace. Nothing missing and nothing broken. And an indescribable joy in my life because my life now had renewed purpose. Because what really is the purpose of life if you're not living for the Lord? So I must say that Dunamis has been a huge blessing in my life. I'm always happy to know that after a long, hard week, I can come here and lose myself in the presence of the Lord. Dunamis has helped me so much to mature spiritually and continues to do so. And it's nice to know that we can come here every Friday and enjoy ourselves with people who equally love the Lord. Much thanks to our leaders who have dedicated so much of their time and hard work to ensure that we enjoy ourselves here. And lastly, I'd just like to encourage all of you here, especially to the people who are here for the first time. I just want to let you know that right here in Dunamis is a place to be on a Friday night.
So next up we have Levi. All you know Levi. He's the drummer who calls it tonight. So you make some noise for Levi.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I like to do things not my I come in. I come here for like 5+ years now, and I'm saying how much to say now. As I said, that camps and everything, but you know, honestly, the year that really hit me the most, and I know some of the cliche, I think that Dunamis changed my life the most in, was last year, because that's when I found 3 things: calling, actually developed my talent, a few other things actually. So I learned that, you know, I know how to take this unashamed thing real serious now. I know how to just stand in front of the crowd and actually proclaim Jesus, represent Jesus, like not Romans, like 2 Corinthians 5:20 says, we're ambassadors now. And if I could be honest, recently that I've been studying Hosea and Esther and Luke, mostly Luke. I was talking about faith and all that. But Hosea and Esther, from what I gained from it, from what I gathered from it, is that God could use anybody. Where Esther was going through, where her position was, she, if you all read the book, you all know how it was. Hosea, what he was going through, what our city was going through, etc., etc. So I just really want to say that God can use anybody. Anybody. It's just a matter of your faith. So God bless you. Thanks a lot.
So up next, I want you to put your hands together for Dunamis Drama Group. Make some noise for the drama.
What is it? I want to tell you this a long time, but I'm frightened about you, Jesus, right? I just don't trust you at all. Yeah, I said it. I don't trust you at all. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Okay, I got just a thing. It's an exercise. Okay?
Okay,
Stand
cool.
here and face that direction.
That direction?
Yeah, just listen to my instructions.
Okay.
Okay? So Samantha, do you trust me?
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. I just said 5 seconds ago, I don't trust you at all. Remember?
Okay, anytime I say, Samantha, do you trust me? You're going to reply, yes, Jesus, I trust you. Automatically.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay?
I'll try.
So, Samantha, do you trust me?
Yes, Jesus, I trust you.
Okay, now, fall back.
I mean, woo! Fall back.
Yeah, woo! Fall back.
Okay. Okay. How about a command? In case somebody want to catch me. You know? In case you want to catch me, Jesus, in case, you know? Okay. Now? Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I'll fall back.
Whenever you're ready.
Here I go. You ready, Jesus? Are ready, yeah? Woo!
Let's try this. You stand here, feet planted. You face that direction. You don't move, don't look back. Alright, let's listen to my instructions. Alright?
I'll try.
Alright, so
I'll
Samantha,
try this time.
do you trust me?
Yes, Jesus, I trust you.
Okay, now fall back.
Can't believe I'm doing this. But I'm going to do it. Here I go, Jesus. Are you there? I close my eyes. Are you there? Hello? Hello? I'm going to fall back. Trusting nothing here. Here I go.
You stand here, you face me. Stand here, you face me. This is my instructions, right?
Okay, I'll try.
I Samantha, do you trust me?
Yes, Jesus, I trust you.
Okay, now fall back.
You're funny, you're funny. Jesus, as you can see, I'm going to see Jesus. There's no one there! No one!
Okay, I know what it looks like.
It looks like it is. There's no one there to touch me.
I just need you to listen to my instructions.
I know what you mean. You come here, and I go here, and I call yes.
Alright, I just need you. Okay, you just listen to what I say to do, and let me worry about everything else.
Jesus,
You stand.
I know you Jesus.
Yeah.
There's no one there.
I know, but Samantha, you.
What happens after I don't fall?
Samantha.
I'll fall to the floor.
You don't need to be concerned about that part. You just what I ask you to do, and let me take care of everything else.
That's the part I'm worried about.
You trust me, right?
No, Jesus. I don't trust you.
Alright, so sometimes in our lives, God or somebody or anybody might ask you something, and you feel in yourself that you're not capable of doing this big task. For example, first time when Levi was asked to play drums, was like, not me. But after when you listen, and you start, and God will take over from there.
Put your hands together for Sister Juga, please. Be here. Welcome up. That was so quiet. I know I said to be quiet, but at the same time,
Right. So, Brother Anton asked me to come up with a few PowerPoints, right? Not PowerPoint presentation, but PowerPoints. And honestly, there are probably like 100 things I could have come up with. So the 5 that I chose today is obviously not the only 5 things that I think could contribute to someone achieving their goals. There were 5 things that were important in my life, and I think that certainly anyone of you wanting to apply these same 5 principles, they would only benefit, right? It's not the only things that are important, but 5 things that certainly could benefit you. Yes? So the first point is fairly obvious, but I still thought I wanted to put it down, because a lot of us, young people, and older people as well, don't necessarily have goals, or we don't have a consciousness of what our goals are. Okay? So, in terms of goals, because we're Christians, right, we bring us added perspective on all of the issues that your friends and classmates and whatnot will be dealing with. Right? Because everyone in your shoes has this idea of what do I want to be when I get a bit older, where do I want to be, what do I want to achieve, is there anything I want to achieve differently to what my parents did or my siblings. Okay, but as Christians, of course, we have that added benefit, huge benefit of our relationship with God. So in terms of when we looking at, understanding and discovering the goals that we want to aspire to, one of the first things is really to come to God, in prayer regularly, continually, because He's the one that's going to make those goals, visible and clear to us. Simply, maybe completing your high school education, doing well, at the CXC level, and those of you at CAPE doing well in CAPE, those of you that aspire to tertiary education, being able to complete a degree, go on to masters, those kinds of goals. And your goals don't only have to be academic, of course, because not everybody necessarily has that, that desire to excel academically, but you may have other goals in terms of things that you're passionate about. So, whether it's about something in the arts, something technical, then you may have goals about your financial situation. So we all come from homes and families. Many of us don't come from wealthy homes. So we may have a particular goal for ourselves that, I want to be in a better place financially than maybe my parents. And, that's why I said research and develop them, because when we have a goal, we need to understand what do we need to be able to achieve that. So if our goal is something financial, right, that I want to be able to own my own home, by the time I'm 30, right, that's a financial sort of goal. We need to be able to research it to find out, what do I need to put in place to be able to achieve that goal, right? The second one, the little tip that I have here is we're being focused. Okay? And really and truly, this is a very important principle, and this comes back to the earlier question about dealing with the distractions and whatnot, yeah? Because the distractions are part of life, as I said. No one is immune from it. Every day when we put on the television, we're going to see messages that seem to be contrary to what we've been hearing in church and from our family and our mentors and that sort of thing. So this idea of staying focused is really important. What I said here, and this is a principle I sort of live by, is that life is about seasons. Yeah? At different times in our life, that different things are important. And of course, this is purely biblical. It comes out of Ecclesiastes. It's a very well-known scripture verse that speaks to everything. There's a purpose and time for everything under heaven. Yeah? And the reason why I put in the idea of season and purpose there is really just to, again, bring to your understanding the fact that there's really a time for everything. So those of us that are in school, this is the time for you to focus on your studies, apply yourself, do really well, excel. Yeah? And the reason why I'm encouraging you to do that is for a number of reasons. Of course, it's going to bring honor and glory to God. Right? So I mentioned this briefly already. Good. Now, if you think about it initially, you might think it's a biblical principle so much, because I talk about all work and no play and whatnot. Okay? This was a principle that I applied in my life. I think even beyond us being Christian, I think it's a very good principle to practice, because I think for each one of us, we don't want to be too extreme in anything in terms of, God put us here to be able to enjoy this life, right? Not for our benefit, but to bring honor and glory to Him. Yeah? So it's not for those of us that like the academics, we want to be diligent, but it's not only about locking up yourself in the library 24 hours a day, right? And not having relationships. Relationships are important. Relationships with your family, relationships with your friends. Yeah? So we had to find that balance, and it was something that I tried to do when I was at university. And so I tried to get involved in extracurricular things. Those extracurricular activities are important. They develop skills in you that God is going to use later on for the assignment that He has for you later on, right? So getting involved here in church and different ministry groups, in school, again in social community types of activities, right? You learn to relate to people, you learn to develop your leadership skills, you learn to speak, you learn to do things like drama and art and that sort of thing. And those things really add to who you are. Seeking and accepting advice. Yeah? Again, most young people don't like to hit you with advice, right? Because we always feel like we know ourselves, we understand our situation. Our parents or whoever, aunt or uncle, whoever, can never quite understand how we feel, right? This is the issue of our relationship. They never had the kind of heartbreak we're having right now. If it's an area of something in school, whether it's bullying or any of those other issues that confront young people, we often feel that we can never be fully understood, and no one else really, no one else has had that exact experience. But believe it or not, it's highly unlikely that you would have been the only person in the recent world existed that went through this particular experience. And a lot of times, the elders in our lives, be it family, be it pastors, be it some sort of teacher or mentor, they usually have valuable advice that they can bring to us. And as young people, especially if we're trying to, what we're speaking about tonight is about achieving our objectives, right? We really need to be able to seek and accept the advice of these persons who are more mature than us, because they've had more experience in this life, right? And particularly where those persons are coming from a Christian perspective, and we know that the counsel and the advice that they're giving us actually is based on biblical principles, right? Fifth of many, but fifth of the night, fifth and last of the night.
I like this one.
This one might seem like it's kind of odd, like it doesn't fit in, right?
Seems irrelevant.
It seems irrelevant, but in my life, I found this particular thing to me was very important. Now again, at Faith Center, we know about this principle of sowing and reaping. Right? It's a message that many of us have heard many times over. And we're speaking about achieving your goals and whatnot, and I've brought in a slide of what you need to give, right? And when I talk about giving here, I'm not just limiting it to financial giving, yeah? Financial giving is important, but it's not only limited to that, and for some of us, our resources at this age in our lives, very limited, so financially there's not much we can give, right? But it's financial and non-financial giving, I'm speaking about time, service, community involvement in industry, befriending persons who don't have friends and whatnot. In my life, I saw, and I proved it on many occasions, that for me it was more financial, that is where I could have seen the examples, but there were many occasions where after I gave a particular offering to God, certain blessings were released, right? My scholarship, my second scholarship, which is when I went to California, it was exactly probably like 2 weeks after I had planted a certain seed that those funds were released to me. I had applied for the scholarship, I was awarded the scholarship, but how that program works is that they had to work with a particular university for the university to grant the funding to me. And we were having challenges because I wanted to go to a top university, right? I was very sure that was the standard I wanted to maintain for myself. And the universities that I had really wanted, they said they loved me, they loved my application, but they didn't have funding for this year and whatnot. And I remember distinctly that I gave a particular offering. It wasn't even with this in mind, but within like a week or 2 weeks, I got a call from this university in California, which is one of the top-ranked universities in the US, to tell me, hey, guess what? They just got some additional funding to provide scholarships and whatnot, and I could have gotten a full scholarship. And it wasn't the only example. So in my life, I saw this principle working.